Ships and sailors, bears and frogs, you are now tuned in to the Disney Holic Show.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Holic Show. That's Jen Diz.
And that's Mike TV.
Today we're catching up on the past 2 weeks of non-stop Disney fun on land and sea, including our cruise on the Disney Fantasy and checking out the newest additions over at Walt Disney World. Wow, land and sea. So I suppose we should start at sea, which was the first half of this wild, long Disney vacation of ours.
Yes, so we went on my second Disney cruise and your...
I think 6th or 7th, somewhere around there.
Losing track Disney cruise for Mike. I love
Losing
it.
track. You are officially now a Silver Castaway member.
Woo! Sail, sail away. That's right. And we are still on vacation, which is the best part of this whole thing. We are actually recording live right now in Orlando.
In our probably third, fourth lodging of this trip. So,
this is our fourth, huh? Crazy.
We started at Orlando Airport Hotel. Is it a Hyatt, I think? And then the ship, of course.
Yeah.
And then Old Key West,
Golden
DVC,
Girls.
Golden Girls. And now we're at Marriott Grand Vista, or Vista Grand.
Yes,
one or the other.
which is grand. Huge.
Massive.
Very massive. Very nice.
But, okay, so the ship. Disney
Yes.
Fantasy, your first time on the Fantasy, my second time. What did you think of the ships, especially for people who have not been on Disney Fantasy yet? What were your thoughts on the ship itself?
So the ship is gorgeous. I know there's these different classes of cruise ships, but I couldn't tell. I'm just going to be real.
Good.
It felt just as beautiful and new and shiny and all the things that you'd want out of the experience. So they do a very good job of keeping these boats up or ships up. But man, it was super gorgeous, and I couldn't tell the difference between the Wish and the Fantasy. Shame on me, maybe, but that's the truth.
Yeah, that's a testament to, I would say, the Imagineers and just maintenance.
Right.
Because we even saw them. If there's like one scratch on the hull of the ship, they're out there peeling it off and repainting it.
Yep.
And that goes for everything on the ship, it seems.
Everything. There's like even some aspects of this ship that were unexpectedly beautiful. I'm just going to really quick mention one. The public restrooms
Yes.
on this
yes.
ship were all gorgeous. I kept taking photos in them. Not when other people were in there. Don't worry, I'm not a creep. But I kept taking photos because they kept having Mickey-shaped mirrors, and it was just very cute. And they're beautiful bathrooms. I could, like, not to be, like, super gross, I'd eat off the floor in them. That's how clean they were. They were so spotless. I couldn't get over how beautiful these bathrooms were. Like, why would that be a highlight? But it was.
It was. And there's plenty of them. And
Yeah.
we kept finding secret bathrooms or hidden bathrooms in different random stairwells and things like that. And that's also a good tip. So we were lucky enough to just have 2 of us in a family stateroom. So we had plenty of space relatively for a cruise ship. But let's say you're traveling with 3 or more people and you don't want to use the bathroom in the cabin. There's so many other places.
Yeah, or somebody's in it
You
already.
could go.
You gotta go.
Yep. Gotta
Find
go,
one very close
gotta
by.
go right
Yep.
now. And then we'll talk about the spa later, but even if you want to take a shower, there's showers in the spa, in the locker room, and in the rainforest room and all that. Okay, so the ship was very, I wanted to say Art Deco, but you know what? We took a tour and she called it something else. And she said, I think the Dream was Art Deco and the Fantasy was maybe a decade.
It was an Art Nouveau.
Art Nouveau, yeah. So it was gorgeous. They made sure we knew that it was inspired by the classic ships of the time, like Queen Mary and Titanic. They love to joke about Titanic throughout that whole thing,
Yeah.
which I get it. But
It's like when you're on a flight, you're not supposed to say the word bomb, but on a ship, you're not supposed to say Titanic.
Yeah. Yeah, it keeps coming up somehow.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good tip too, is take that tour. It's on the Navigator, and it's included. And there was even an adult version that we did.
Yeah, it was really fun. You got to learn, like for Disneyholics, we love the small details and fine details of Disney, and they tell you all sorts of stuff that you likely didn't know. Like, I'm just going to say it. Like, there's so many small details and hidden things that the Imagineers worked into the cruise ship. You know, cruise ships, we don't hear about as often as we hear about the park. So I didn't know almost any of the things that they told us on that tour. So it was very cool for people like us.
Yeah. And on the tour, we got to do a walkthrough of the 2 upcharge restaurants, so the fine dining for adults only, Remy and Palo, which was nice because we didn't go to eat there, but then we got to go and see inside and also meet a lot of the, how should I say, very well put together European waiters and staff. Wow. They're very nice, and they're from there was a guy from Spain, from France, from Italy, and they were so welcoming, and they wanted to talk to us about the different wines and all the food that they serve at those restaurants. So everybody gets into it. So when the tour guide takes you by, cast members, they get into it too.
Yeah, wasn't there what do you remember the price, a roundabout price on that bottle of wine?
I want to say it was 20,000 maybe, at least.
At least. Yeah, it was some insane, like I think it was more money than a car.
Yeah.
And then
I think 20,000 was the low tier one.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. And there's one that they only had like 5 bottles.
Yeah,
of.
and they've only sold one ever.
Yeah.
So like somebody splurged on some trip and bought some insane bottle of wine, which I can't even imagine the luxury of. But
yeah, I think those were like 45,000. And they said you can't even leave the ship with it. You have to drink it on board.
Yeah.
So there you go. So if you have a little extra change to spend, you may enjoy some of these things that you find out on the tour that you can buy, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really fun. I highly recommend. And there was numerous versions of that tour too. So you could do the family, like you said, or adult. And there's numerous times too, so you can catch any of them along the ship. And then she even mentioned that she kind of there's so much details on the ship that she feels out her crowd, and then there's also different tour guides that do it, and you get a different experience each time. So you can even go on it multiple times and probably learn a lot of new things as you go, which is also really fun to think about. I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
She seemed to have her favorites that she wanted to show us.
Right.
And every guide might have their own favorites.
Totally.
Which is cool. One other thing that's different about this ship compared to Disney Wish, for example, which is the other ship you went on, is their adult entertainment district is pretty much all in one spot. And this one was based on Europe. So the theme and the area is called Europa. So how did that feel?
I liked that it was all in one spot.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, okay, we're back in this vibe now. Like it was like a space where I knew exactly what I was doing there. Sometimes when it's moved all over the boat, it kind of feels like it shifts a lot more, like the way you feel or the way you have to get there, and you get lost trying to figure that out. But it's like you have one spot you have to get to every night in like 3 different areas that are all connected. Yeah. Now, I liked it a lot, actually.
It's cool. I really like that too. And it's anchored by La Piazza, which is inspired by a gorgeous Italian carousel. And they have like a Vespa nearby and these little booths. And it seems to be a transient place. Like a lot of people walk through it to get to the other bars. But we ended up going there a lot because we loved the live entertainment on this ship.
We did. We so did. This is also, I think I had such a good time in so many places, but this bar specifically, because of the decor as well, was I think it was my favorite spot on the entire boat. It looks like you're on a carousel just being in the room. It's so freaking cute. I can't get over it. And we saw several live musicians in this area. One was... Wait, how do we want to go about this?
Oh, yeah. I mean...
do we want to go in detail yet or no?
Let's talk about who we loved, because I know that you got their contact information, so hopefully we'll be able to get them on the show.
Hopefully, yeah.
Even cooler.
If they're not on the boat.
But yeah, there was a whole bunch. There was a violinist. There was a pianist. There was sort of like an R&B singer-songwriter, guitarist. There was a couple from Brazil who did a lot of live music as well. I don't even know how to call that one. He was like a one-man band, and then with the singer vocalist.
Yeah, even there's this one time where we heard like a tambourine, and I was like, oh, I think that might be like a drum machine or something. And then the next time we saw them, we saw it on his foot. His little tambourine on his foot, on his shoe, and I'm like, oh my god, they're just like killing over here, harmonicas, all sorts of things going on. Yeah, there's a couple from Brazil, and they were. Like Bossa Nova was one of our favorite sets that we watched of theirs. So all over the board of different types of music that you can enjoy on the cruise as well.
And so I know we both love going to the parks and just watching the live performers. So it's very much like that without so many people around. One of our Instagram followers, shout out, I think it was Jessica, right?
Yeah.
Shout out, was like, is that a private concert? It definitely felt like that, to the point where sometimes it was a little awkward, but it was still cool.
Awkward for who?
Maybe them, because we're like staring into their eyes. We're like, oh, are you singing to me?
Oh yeah, it felt like
you.
they're singing right into our souls.
Yeah, and
All
you
of
could
them.
like
It felt so good.
talk to them and banter with them, and even sometimes make song requests, because at one point the Brazilian duo were singing some other genre for that program, and then we asked about Bossa Nova, and they gave us a Bossa Nova finale just for us.
Talk about feeling special.
Yeah, it was really cool. So
There's
live
something
entertainment.
about this experience on the cruise I really haven't experienced anywhere else, and that's a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know when else you get it. Also, we have an advantage, and this is something I'm going to also suggest as a tip. This might not be a tip anyone else is going to want, but I say become slightly a night owl before you go on the cruise, because when you get these moments later at night, there's no one awake on the ship.
Yeah.
And it's unique and special. And then, like, the only reason that we felt we had such a captive audience with them was because there wasn't that many people there, just because it was late. People go to bed early on the cruise ship. They just do. But you get these special interactions because of staying up late. And then, what else do? You go up onto the deck of the ship and scream out into the universe as the wind is blowing so hard in your face. Just another thing you can only do on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
What were we doing?
We were calling to the frozen sirens in the blackness of the ocean in the middle of the Caribbean. Wind in our faces. Every now and then.
Could barely hear ourselves.
Could
That's
barely
how
hear
strong
it.
the wind was.
We tried recording it, and you couldn't even hear it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good way to just let off some steam and scream and sing. Nobody around you.
It was great. And I also noticed during this moment, I actually had this thought while we were there. I didn't tell you about it. But usually when you need to let off some steam is because you're like stressed or something. I was feeling great, and it still felt good to let off that steam.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm relaxed and I feel amazing. I'm having a great time. Let me still scream into the wind, and I feel like 1,000 times better. It was the weirdest feeling ever, but it was so good.
Really,
People
really
probably
good.
thought we were wasted.
Every now and then there would be someone behind us, and we're like, can they hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, well, free concert.
Free concert.
We are the live entertainment.
You're welcome.
One more thing about the ship, when you started telling me about going around at nighttime, we actually played shuffleboard. It's something I always walk by, and I always think on a cruise ship, oh, I'm going to go do it. But we finally did it. That was really fun. It was at nighttime. There was an almost full moon outside, and it's just surreal playing a game like that on the deck in the middle of the ocean at night.
Right.
Yeah.
There was that video I took of us playing, and you couldn't even tell we were on a ship, really. Right.
Yeah.
It was just us playing shuffleboard. And then all of a sudden I pan over to the left, and it's like the edge of the ship, the endless ocean, and the moon. Like, wait a second, what? So it's one of those, I don't know. That was fun, too, because we had another family start playing shuffleboard right behind us also. And I think that we started the trend that night.
Yep, we did.
Just saying.
We sure did. The other type of live entertainment on this ship were, of course, the big grand Disney Broadway style shows. And so we had a few different ones. We had Aladdin, we had Frozen, and then we had an original one called Believe. And then there was also a few other sort of non-Disney performers that showed up from time to time, which is hit or miss. But what did you think of, let's start with Aladdin.
Aladdin was good. Okay, this is the funniest part. I was actually just talking about this earlier tonight. The theater is beautiful, and the capabilities of that theater are actually really good for the size it is, I think. Like, the technology and the lighting and the special effects that they have in that little theater are really cool. And it's a beautiful theater to the point where, like, every time I go watch one of those shows, I'm like, oh, wait, we're on a ship right now. Like, all of a sudden you might feel the ship just kind of shift a little bit. You're like, oh, yeah, I'm on a boat in the middle of the ocean watching this Broadway-style show. It's just, like, crazy to think about.
And there's even balcony seating that we found one day. Yeah. It's
really big.
Legit.
Yeah. So the Aladdin was really good. I think that maybe one of the actresses was a little much for me. And that was distracting.
Princess Jasmine.
Yeah. But I'm not trying to hate. But the rest of the show was really good. And the Aladdin was, like, on point.
Yeah, I'm
going to give him some
like
shouts
Aladdin.
because he sounded and acted and looked like just like Aladdin, like a real Aladdin. But the rest of it was really good. And then the Genie was hilarious, of course. And it's always fun to see Genie because he switches his content for, like, modern pop culture.
Up to date. He even did the demure things.
Yeah. So demure, cutesy, or whatever. Yeah.
He did that. Oh, there was one other one he did that I was like, oh my God, that's real new. I can't think of it. But yeah, he was good. And when we recorded a couple episodes ago, we said, we're going to see if this was the same Aladdin show that was at Hyperion Theater. And I don't think it was. I think there were some elements like the Genie that were the same. But it was pretty different, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, the same storyline, but yeah, you could tell, like, a lot of the ways that the performance was performed.
Yeah, I couldn't think of another.
You know what I mean? Whatever. It was different, and then some of the special effects and stuff like that and the sets were different. So definitely a different show, but still the same essence of it. I think there was a part where we would normally have seen him walking down the stairs, but it was a video screen, right? Of him walking down the stairs?
No, it was a video background with him on wires walking down
the stairs. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's how good they did
like
with the blending of the technology.
Yeah.
Sometimes I couldn't tell.
I couldn't even remember,
Yeah. That was cool.
But yeah, it was good nonetheless. I would say probably equally as good as Hyperion, but just different.
Yeah.
They didn't have the flying carpet, though.
Yeah, it was just on the stage.
I do love that.
Yeah.
It did have a floating carpet. Like, it came up with, like, kind of this, like, kuka arm kind of deal. Some kind of little device with a shit ton of fog coming out below it to cover that up, which was hilarious. But they still did a good job at that. But it's just not the one that goes above your head like it did in Hyperion. So I think that they had that over the other show. But that's really it. Everything else is really good.
Very good. Very good. And then the cool thing about these cruise ships is it's the same performance, like, group that do all the shows, everything from, like, the pirate shows to all the other Broadway shows and things like that. And so we watched Frozen, or we watched, like, the first half of it. We said, let's watch till the climax of Let It Go, and then
we're going to let it go.
We're going to let it go and explore the ship while it's mostly, again, not very busy during dinner and shows. That's a good time if you're willing to skip those or one of those. You have, like, the whole ship to yourself and everything's still open. So we did Frozen. What did you think of what we saw so far of Frozen?
I actually really liked Frozen. I would choose that one over Aladdin, which I never thought would come out of my mouth. Never.
Shook.
But there were so many different layers of the way that they performed. For instance, the beginning started off with puppeteering, which I was very surprised of, and it was so cute. And then
that was very smart. So I remember when it was happening, you asked, did you know it was going to be puppets? And I was trying to look at it, and I was like, oh, there's no way they could hire kids to be stuck on the ship as part of the cast of all these shows. So that was the only way they could do it.
Yes.
And it turned out kind of cooler and more creative.
I loved it.
Right?
Yeah, I was like totally there for it. And then some of the other effects were really cool too. Like Elsa, for instance, when she would like do her little finger thing and then like freeze up an area, it would like go across the entire walls and even up into the mezzanine where we were.
Yeah.
Like it was like inside the area we were in, which usually like balcony seating doesn't get all that much love, but we got our own like frozen wall up in there. Like it was back in there. That was super cool.
Yes.
What did you think?
It was good. It was good. I definitely wanted to take advantage of the rest of the ship, but I wouldn't have hated watching it if we had another time where it didn't overlap with something.
Yeah.
Because, it was good. The effects were good. There was even the good use of, similar to the Aladdin who was going down the stairs, they had a scrim sometimes in front of Elsa that you couldn't really see, so that when she was doing her finger things, there was actual sparkling happening like before your eyes in the air.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That was very cool.
Very, very, very cool.
What was I just gonna say about? You just reminded me of something else to say. I lost it.
But the funny thing is about us leaving after Let It Go is I think we didn't even get to see Olaf. Because he doesn't get created until later. He comes back. We saw, like, I think when the baby version, when Anna first asked for a
built
snowman.
him. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yeah, so if you're a fan of Frozen or Aladdin, that is the ship for you because those are the two featured shows. And then we had Disney Believe, which was on the final night, I think. Yeah, it was on the last night. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those originals that are written and created for the cruise ships. And I saw this one a few times. I was excited for you to see it. Mm-hmm. What did you think of that one?
Very fun. This is one of those, I guess they kind of have this on every ship, right? One of these, like, originally created shows. Is that right to say?
Yeah, with kind of like
a different one that was...
collage of Disney things,
and they have, like, a bunch of pieces with a bunch of different Disney characters. First of all, they had a singing and dancing and eye blinking and all the things. Baloo!
Baloo was there.
Oh, my God. I was, like, screaming inside. I was, like...
In the jungle.
Oh, my God. I was so happy.
Bare necessities.
But, yeah, they had, like, all the hits from all of Disney time. Just random different characters all mixed into this one brand new story that you can only really see on this ship, or maybe, I don't know if it's on multiple ships or not, but the Disney Cruise Line. And it was really good. There was a couple cringe moments we talked about.
Yes.
They decided to have the little girl, she's a grown-ass woman, but she played a little girl as a character, and she kept deciding to, like, go into this, like, hip-hop bit where she's, like, beatboxing and, like, dancing, and it was weird. I'm not there for that one.
And we had to look, we're like, when was this written? And it was 2011, 2012. So it seemed outdated.
Yeah,
and it wasn't that long
was
ago.
Like, oh man, what is this? But the rest of it was great. It was very cute. It was like the little girl teaching her dad to believe in magic.
Yeah.
Right? So it was very cute. And then he had to go through the whole Disney history to get there.
Yeah.
But he got there, so it was good.
We love, like, a life lesson through regular humans and then told through the magic of Disney. Like,
yes.
It made it so much more relatable when they do that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was, like, adulting hard. He was, like, getting distracted with being an adult, which we all are having that trouble with right now. So,
yep.
Yeah, I could feel his pain.
So that was a good show. So that's Disney Believe. And then there were a couple of, like, Vegas-style acts that were available. One was called, I was going to say Crunk.
Junk.
Junkk, I think, for some reason. And it was interesting. What did you think?
I've seen something like it before a couple different times. So I feel like it wasn't super exciting for me because I've already seen it done. But they were fun. Like, they did a little adult-only show one night. That was a little more personal. I think that was kind of a better stage for me than in the main theater. But they kept playing piano bar songs. Remember? We're like, no.
Yeah.
But it was still cute and fun, but it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, and then when it's compared to the Disney performers, it's hard to top.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard to
after
top.
After you get these solo concerts at night with an amazing musician, and then you see the guy who's with the junk. It's like, okay, but there's this one guy that was breakdancing. He's a very good breakdancer, so I'll give him credit. And then they played with literal junk. That was their whole thing. They modify junk into instruments, which is pretty cool. Like I noticed at the end, one guy was playing like these tubes, making them hit different octaves with like the bottom of an empty flip flop. Like it was just like like banging on shit with it, and I was like, all right, like that's wild. Okay, but yeah, they're very hype. Like they're the kind of group that you see that like you might see on like a street act.
Yeah.
In Vegas or something.
Vegas.
Yep.
Atlantic City, Times Square.
Venice
Beach. Yep. Those
Santa
type of
Monica.
things.
Yeah.
So if that's your groove, they have that for you too. And the nice part is for those acts, you had mentioned, they do a big stage show, but then they also do an adult-oriented version.
Yeah.
In the smaller venue. So that's the ones we decided to watch.
I think that's a great thing to remember too. I don't know if this always happens or what, but I would have been totally fine with only watching the adult ones because it felt more intimate, which I like.
Yeah.
And it was still a great show for both of the different acts. And then you don't have to do the whole hour and change long big show in the theater. So you can now have your time back to explore your ship. And the adult shows were usually later, like at 10 o'clock at night or something like that. So it was a little later at night.
And they're a little more loose-lipped.
Yes, yeah, it's a little more adult. And totally. And like the choices they make to do different things are based around the audience. So that was really cool. And then the second act was a magician called Kid Ace.
Yes.
No? Yeah,
yes.
Kid Ace.
Well, first of all, I just realized there was a third. So let's talk about Kid Ace.
Oh, shoot.
Let's talk about Kid Ace, and then we'll talk about this whole other thing. So Kid Ace was really cool. He was reminding me, or as our friend Nicole would say, he was giving me not American Idol, America's Got Talent. He was very like a real cool, modern, normal American dude who is talented and like found his way onto the cruise ship and is getting paid to do what he loves, which is like magic and illusions. And it seemed like he really was excited to do the adult show too. So he probably loves doing the nighttime pieces. Yeah,
that was fun because I love magicians and I love the fact that I have no idea how any of it's done. So I'm just there for it. So that was super fun. I did watch that show both in the big theater and the adult one, and I would have just stuck with the adult one next time. So that's a perfect example. I did both.
That's good to know.
And then we had another act. What was that one, Mike?
He called himself the Eccentric Gentleman. I personally would describe him as a clown on drugs. Without clown makeup, but with makeup, but just not clown makeup.
Okay, I have to say, this guy... Okay, so first of all, we did like a game show or something before it. And then, and not like it's a bad thing, but do you know how like when TV shows just start the next show right away, they don't have a commercial break? It was like that night, so we were kind of trapped to like watch this next show. And there's no like break for us like leave if we wanted to, and we didn't really know what was going on. And this guy comes out at 180%. Like it was so crazy and it was so late. And I just pictured him right now on a unicycle, which he was not. But that's how extra he was to where I just imagined him on a fucking unicycle.
He had unicycle energy. Unicycle clown circus energy.
And he did this crazy thing where he would come out and do this like he would do like magic or like juggling or some kind of like cool stunt and then just fucking scream. Like he'd tip his head back and like and it was out of control. It was to the point where we were both sitting like kind of frozen in time, like, whoa, and we were front row center again. So like it's like right in our face. It was intense.
Which that is good advice. So we learn to love to sit up close for the games and the activities and the trivias. For all kinds of reasons, because you could see it better, but sometimes you have to physically go up to the stage to participate in the game. But then what happens is you're stuck there when when the performer comes out right after. So that's what happened to us with that dude.
Yeah. I could have done without this one. I'm sorry, guy. He was just too much for me. And I don't know if it was like because the game was chill and then he was... I don't know what it was. The shift was there, right? It was like, ooh, like it just like flipped upside down, and I think he probably did like 5 times. Yeah. So it was just like, it was just too much. But again, I'm not gonna hate too much because he was also good at what he did.
Yeah,
he didn't like have any problems with this little crazy act. He was just like too crazy for me.
And then you have to remember this is all entertainment that's just included with your cruise.
Right,
so
yeah.
We were like, I guess we'll stay. We might as well.
Yeah,
we're already here.
Also, I feel like I'm a jerk if I'm like sitting up front and I walk out in the middle of someone's set, you know? And it was nonstop too. He also didn't pause. We didn't have a pause before he came out until he was done.
All the way through.
Yep.
Yikes.
The screaming though was the over the top for me.
Nightmarish now that I'm thinking about it. And we had said at one point, we're like, I wonder which, Disney corporate cast member gets to do the casting and auditions for these, like the non-Disney performers that come on the ship.
Right.
So, and it's also a pretty good gig because it seems like the performers only have to do their thing, which is like at night, maybe a couple of times a night. And then they seem to have access to everything. Like we saw them in cabanas. They even mentioned seeing some of us at cabanas. Mm-hmm. They got to use the sauna and the spa and everything. So that's a nice gig to have. Is if you have talent out there, go audition for Disney Cruise Line to be some of the special events.
And the musicians and stuff, they played a lot. Like they're playing like probably every night. But this eccentric gentleman, for instance, I think he only did that one thing.
Yeah. So
maybe another one for families because we weren't following the family track.
Yeah.
We were doing the all adults, but like it was definitely only one time with the or for adults. So like he might have been on that ship for 7 days, eating all the cruise food, and just like living life up. And he had one 30-minute act to do. I don't know. Is that what happened?
That's crazy. That's what I think. So we had talked about like only if you're like a big celebrity do you get to just helicopter in for one night on a cruise ship. The rest of the entertainers, they're all stuck there with us the whole time, for better or for worse.
Crazy.
Oh man. Okay, so other than the live shows and live entertainment, the live games, activities, shows were great. So we got to find some of our favorites that we found on Disney Wish. They do them here on all the ships, like meet your mate, match your mate, meet your match.
Game.
Match. It's basically like newlywed game, but with 3 couples, and they ask very awkward questions while the other person is off stage getting a free drink, by the way.
That was cute. That was very cute.
And then they come back and they see if the answers are right, but the whole audience is involved while the questions are being asked. And this is like one of my favorite activities on every Disney cruise ship because it's different depending on the couples they bring up on stage.
Right. And it's my favorite because it is the most adult I think I've ever been, unless it's just with my friends. It's the most adult I've ever been with a Disney employee and other strangers at Disney. Yeah. Because they talk about their sex life. They talk about their relationship. Like they go balls out on it. Like they purposely ask people that they bring up, like, are you ready to overshare, right? Like, they're like, are you ready to share and tell us everything? And they're like, all right, come on up. So, like, it's kind of fun to just, like, get away with it. Like, you feel like you're getting away with it on a Disney cruise, right? And it's a fun game anyway, like, even outside of Disney, but it's extra funny because it's on a Disney cruise ship.
And they definitely encourage, like you said, the employees, the cast members. Mm-hmm. Our sort of game host for most of the Disney adult activities, she was a lot of fun, and she would encourage us to be adults and say, like, sometimes she would turn off her microphone if she wanted to say something naughty, or she would say, I can't say it, but you can say it. and then she'd put the microphone in front of somebody.
Right,
So
right.
that was fun.
Yeah, she would make sure to go back. Like if she heard somebody mutter something good after she already walked away, she'd run back. She goes, "Nope, say that in the microphone," and then have them share it with everybody, and then we would hear all the juicy details. They would be
fun.
Spilling the tea.
So shout out to Emmy. We had a lot of fun with her hosting these activities.
Yes, Emily and Tad.
Yep. Tad was a lot of fun.
They were the main
too.
ones that we had for the adult showcase. It was so funny.
And you know what else we did
So good.
that was, I would say, at least out of my comfort zone, was the silent disco.
Oh my God, this was great.
Yeah.
I've always thought they were so nerdy. Like I
Same.
was just like, oh God. And the only time I ever see it is like the adult only nights at like a museum.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
the only time I ever really see them, and it's like all these people who like just really, like I don't know, they don't get out that often or something. That's like what I thought about them before. And then of course we walk into this silent disco and it looks just like that.
Yeah,
Right?
it's very
looks
odd if
just
you're
like
not
that.
participating.
And then once you put your headphones on, you're like, oh, wait a second. And it's like you get to like bond with these people. First of all, they had 3 channels of music you could choose from, which I did not realize was a thing.
I didn't know either.
I just hung out with my friend Courtney today. She was showing me pictures of another thing she went on with the silent disco, so we started talking about
What?
it. They also had 3 channels, so it must be a thing.
Okay,
They're the same
yeah.
exact headphones, same colors. And so when I first put my headphones on, there's people singing out loud in the room. Smooth like butter, I'm a criminal undercover.
Ta-da.
I'm like, what is happening? Because there's no music or there's no lyrics on my headset. It's like, what the heck? So I was listening to a totally different song, and then I discovered there's 3 different channels you could flip through. But that was really cool because it would light your headset up different colors, so then you could like bond with people on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Like I remember there's this girl that was kind of across the way from me, and she kept choosing the same songs as me, and we would kind of like look at each other like, yeah, like we would like get
Right?
excited when we like both would switch the channel at the same time, or like doing our own little dance across the room from each other while the middle group was all listening to like the red color or something.
Yeah.
You know, it was really cute that way. I like that.
And it would make me want to see what people are dancing to. So if like the people with the blue headphones were like doing some body rolls, I'm like, ooh, what are they listening to? So then I would switch away from like the
Yeah.
cumbia over to whatever was on the other station. But the funny thing is, since neither of us knew about the channels, before you got there, I was dancing to Mariah Fantasy. So they were playing Fantasy by Mariah, who's my
On the
favorite.
Fantasy.
On the Fantasy. Silent disco, as I was ready to like talk shit about it. And then I'm like, this is so amazing. And then I was kind of like informally dancing with this other girl. You know how like you're saying like you kind of give the eye
Yeah.
contact. And I'm like, oh my God, she loves Mariah too. So we danced the whole thing. Little did I know she was dancing to something completely different.
Oh, how funny!
And I
How
didn't like put it all
funny.
together until you got there, and then we started talking about it. We're
Yeah.
like, wait, what? And then you thought it was broken even. We had to ask the
Yeah.
cast member what's up.
I was like, what is going on? There was this group of people who ended up being our dining neighbors also.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them just sitting, and they were all synchronized singing along with the song that I was not hearing. I was like, what is going on? I was so confused. But then, of course, our lovely host helped me get on track, and then me and Mike talked about it as well. So
And you can
Super
make
fun.
friends. Like if you go to these adult things, they're small and intimate enough that you'll have moments with your seat neighbors or whatever. And we found that group, other BTS fans, that they were like, oh my God, that's the guy that was dancing to Butter. And I was like, yeah, I was, blah, blah, blah. So we started talking about BTS. And then, like you said, they were our dining neighbors, which was helpful. You were able to get markers from them when we needed
Yeah.
to borrow them for this other thing. So, so definitely spend some time at the adult area
yeah,
at
people
night.
are very friendly. Even in like I did some trivia games outside of that, and I got invited to join another group because I did well on trivia. They're like, you should be on our team for the next one. So I went to a trivia game that I wasn't even planning on going to, just because like I was like, oh, I can make some new friends. This will be cool. So it was kind of neat.
So much trivia. There's more
So
trivia
much.
than you could even wrap your brain around.
And I love trivia.
So much. And they have adults version, they have family version, there's all kinds of genres. They have Disney versions, general trivia. Yeah, I love that. That's cool.
Yep.
All right, so we also got to do some pixie dusting this time because we didn't do the
Did.
fish extender formal group, we decided to go in another direction and pixie dust.
We did. This was kind of fun because, our trip was planned like pretty last minute in comparison to when a lot of people probably book a cruise, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't really have the time to plan or get stuff or any of the things. So we actually hopped off at the port in Cozumel, Mexico, and bought items at a store there.
Yeah.
And so we actually found like some local like candy from Mexico and little envelopes, and we bought some like little gems to decorate the envelopes with, and we like put these little kits together, and we went and pixie dusted a bunch, like we got like almost 30 or something.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of these envelopes made full of like candy and like little notes and stuff, and we went and delivered them off into whoever had their fish extender, which is a whole thing. Look it up.
Yeah,
we've talked about it many times. And we just like dropped them off and let them know like, hey, shout out from the Disney Holics. Like we've now pixie dusted you, and we ended up getting a lot of pixie dust as well.
Yeah, in return.
We had our fish extender out, and it worked.
Doing the gifts at night is like the best activity for night owls, I guess. You get to explore the ship. It's pretty much empty. And sneak around like little elves and give these gifts out. And then you have the power of choosing who gets the special gift. And so we
were judging. So judging. Remember we saw one and we're like, oh, this is a cute door, like the way they decorate their door. And then there was something about the Seahawks. We're like, ew, sports.
Yeah,
next.
we're like no sports. And then we wanted to give some love to the interior rooms, which are often forgotten about and hidden in the dark. So we made sure anyone who had fish extenders out interior. But we did notice a new cool thing that I've never seen before, which is people are now making magnets to put on award-winning doors.
Yeah, they're like rating your door.
Yeah. And not bad, only good, right?
Only good.
Yeah. That is so cool.
Imagine, like, your door sucks.
I did.
So
I think
sad.
I turned some thumb down on something. I forgot why.
Wow, Mike, that's...
There must have been a reason. I can't
awful.
remember. But yeah, and we thought, okay, we're going to do this next time, is make some custom magnets from the Disney Holics that says we love your door or something like that.
That's very cute.
Yeah.
Yep. I guess so he put thumbs down and then I kept flipping over this poor family's pineapple they had on there. It was like this. There was this room that we would pass by every time we go to the elevator, and they had some little magnet that said something about yay vacation, and there's a pineapple, and I just kept flipping it upside down, and if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
And every time we came back, it was back the right way.
They're like, why do people keep knocking on our door at 11 p.m. at night? Who's that outside? Who's that couple outside?
Chaos, pure chaos.
So get your pixie dusting on if you're planning a cruise anytime soon. You also had a first time, which was a spa experience. I think it was your first in general. Is that right?
Yeah. You guys, I do not pamper myself enough, because now I'm like, Mike is ruining me, I think, for everything. Because now I can't have hotel rooms without a balcony. I can't go on a cruise ship without A, B, and C. Now I have to have the spa. Like, oh my gosh, he's like teaching me about this life I should be living that I'm just not. So I'm just not a spa girl. I've finally started getting pedicures because I hate doing my toenails, because it gets a pain in the butt and I never do a good job. So like when I'm going to be out, like with my toenails out a lot,
exposed,
then I want to have, then I get a pedicure. Otherwise I just kind of hang out and I take care of them myself for the rest of the year. But that's about it. Like that's as far as I get into pampering myself, is getting a pedicure. I don't even get the manicure while I'm there. I just do the pedi only, and I'm out the door as soon as I can. Don't touch my legs. Let's just get the nails done. I'm out. But we did the spa, which is called Senses, on the ship. And I think is it on all the ships also, Senses?
Yeah, I think so now, yeah.
And beautiful spa. They had this thing called the Rainforest Room, which you could buy a week-long pass for, which ends up being super worth it in cost. Like,
totally.
It's one fee. You can use it all you want while they're open, the whole cruise, like the entire time. And they have these crazy things that Mike has been telling me about forever. And I finally got to experience them, called the Rainforest Room. And there's these little like stalls that you can go in, and they have, in each of them, I think there's at least 2 or 3 different types of experiences that you
like
could do.
Shower
magic. The way the water comes
it.
out. Like there's one with like a waterfall, and then the rain, and then like there's different color lighting that happens, and then the heat on the water changes. And so, like, you can do, like, a thunderstorm, and it'll feel different than, like, a smooth rain or a cool mist, right? Like, you have all the different options. And you guys, this was so funny. We went into one together, because they're big. You can go in with other people. And I mean, not super big, but maybe 2 people. Right?
Yeah.
I think that would be good. And then you go in, and
I had to see your first time in each of these. So we had to both go in.
Right. Yeah, there's no other option. And we hit some storm, and the water starts coming on. I'm like, okay, this is actually nice. And I don't know where it's like, like just like hell hard as water. And we both screamed bloody murder. And I feel bad because we probably freaked everyone out in the whole spa. But I couldn't help it, neither could Mike. So it was a surprise, and it was really funny. But I remember the next few times I went into that one, because I did like that one. I like prepped myself, and there you could tell when the lighting is changing, it's getting like more to a red, because it's now like the eye of the storm, and then it hits you real hard. So you just prepare yourself for it. That was really fun and very cool. And those are just regular water showers, like clean water showers, right?
I like how they can make an adult spa still feel playful.
Yeah,
right?
It really was fun.
Yeah.
Like more than anything, I think, that part.
There's even the cold icy mist, which is fun because you have to see, can I stand here the whole time?
Oh my God, it was hard.
Like each experience lasts maybe 30 to 60 seconds or something. And so you're like, okay, I got to get through this. And then you feel accomplished.
Doing Lamaze breathing while you're there. I can do it.
Yep. And then they got the hammam room, I think is what it's called. Like hot, steamy.
This one,
you can put salt on. They give you
not a
salt. It's hard to breathe.
It was so weird. I felt like I wasn't breathing because it was like, I think the same temperature as my internal organs or something. I don't know. It was a very weird experience. But you know, whatever your kink.
I have this really well, your kink, your hammam kink. Yeah. I have this strange thing with the hot saunas, whether it's the steam or the dry or whatever, where if I go in and there's somebody already there, I feel like I can't leave before them because it means I failed and I can't handle it. And it's so hard because some of these people are hardcore and I'm like, how is this person still in here? Like, go, just leave so that I can leave too, but I don't have to, but I can't help it.
I have another problem, and I did it while I was there one time when I think you were out on the chairs, and I went into one of the rooms and I was just like, I don't really want to be in here, but now I feel like I'm rude because I walk in, I'm like, that person's going to feel like I walked out because they were in there.
Right?
Like,
yep.
Oh, I don't want to be here with you. You know, because there's only one other person in there. And I'm like, oh, I don't want them to feel bad. So I went and sat down. I didn't want to be there. I waited like 5 minutes and then I left. Like, this is so stupid.
It's the weird pleaser. Unwritten spa etiquette.
Yeah.
But it's like we don't even know. But what is cool about spa etiquette at this place is it is a co-ed area. So a lot of these nice luxury spas are actually split out by gender. So what makes it fun is that we can, of course, go together and then you just go with your bathing suit or your trunks and then you can experience all those luxurious type of saunas. There's a steam one, a dry one, hammam, and then, of course, the hot tub jacuzzis outside hanging over the ocean.
Yes. Okay. This was my favorite part. So it was like this room where it was kind of like, what do you call it? Like the glass ceiling, like walls. It's all windows. And then there's this one row of windows that's open air. So you can feel the breeze coming through. And you're in this hot tub that's just like looking out into the endless ocean. Like, oh my God, it was so nice.
Gorge.
And then even right before that, you go into the room with the chairs. And I swear, I've never felt more comfortable in my life.
Yeah.
There are these hard chairs. They're like, I don't know, like mosaic rock chair things.
Yep.
And they're hot, they're like hot to touch. Like not hot, but like warm.
HOTT, hot to touch.
To touch. There you go. So I thought it was going to be, I think like most things that I feel are warm, like if it's like a bench out in Disneyland, right? For instance, if it's hot, usually you sit on it and then it gets hotter and hotter and hotter till you get too hot and you have to get up. These didn't do that because you said it's circulating hot water.
Hot water,
inside.
yeah.
So it's like this different way of distributing heat to where it never gets too hot. And it's just like the perfect warmth. And you just lay there and you just like zone out and you're just so relaxed. It's so comfortable. And even though it's just like this hard ass chair, it's so like relaxing somehow. It's like magic. I don't understand
it. It is magic.
And then it has this beautiful like music, like spa music playing in the background. It's like so relaxing. One of my favorite, I have two favorite moments in this room actually. One was you. Can I
snore? Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Can I snore? Mike passed out many times in this chair room over the days, and he started snoring. And the cutest thing ever, he looks over at me. He like woke himself up from a snore, and he goes, "That was me!" Like with his eyes like half shut, and I'm like, "What the heck?" It was so funny, but it was like a pure bliss face. Like he was like so happy and comfortable. And then the other one, there was some guy I don't know came in. And I wasn't really I heard him and I knew there was somebody in here getting in a chair near me. And all I hear is this big crunch. And I could tell the sound of the crunch. It was definitely a soft serve ice cream cone from Deck 11 Cabanas, or the deck, actually. Yep. And I was like, are you serious? I look over. This guy's laying in this spa with his like bathrobe on, eating a full ass soft serve ice cream. I'm like, that guy is just literally living his best life right now.
Yes. Like, and these are grown ups.
He's grown ass, and he's probably like in his 50s, and he was just there just like chomping away at this ice cream, and I was sitting there. I had the giggles so bad from it, like to myself, because I was like, this guy is just going it, like he's just going for it. He don't care. It's perfect.
So good. And it truly was a therapeutic place because I got I think a pedicure on my first day for the same reason as you did before the trip, like just to get ready. But I didn't even get any services. You didn't get any treatments. Like we just enjoyed the spa pass. And so that's a great way to spa. If you don't want to do massages or treatments, you can just do that. And even though we were on vacation and relaxing, there were still so many activities. Like you'd have to shift throughout the day from like excursions to the beach to dinner time. And so I love going to the spa in between those, and it kind of resets me.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, and there's that tip too, is to go when the other group is at dinner.
Yes.
Right?
If you go during dinner, it's almost completely empty. And that's a good way to do it. It seems like they control the amount of people. They said they only sold like 60 or so passes. I'm not sure if I believe it. But when it was at like peak crowded, it was kind of uncomfortable, but it wasn't the worst. But I'd rather go when it's empty.
Yeah.
Of course.
Even when it was crowded, though, I feel like I was able to do everything I wanted to do in there still. Even with that said, like I could still get a chair. I could still lay in the hot tub. Like if I waited till somebody got out after like 5-10 minutes or something, like you could still get things done, which is impressive because there's a lot of places we know, aka Disney parks, that are a hot mess once they're too crowded, right?
Yeah.
You can't get anything done. So
like interactive things where you have to like wait your turn.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do that here. And then I hurt my knee before the trip rollerblading. And I don't know what it was, but I'm thinking in my mind it was just going to the spa a lot. And the hot tub and then the chairs. Like my leg is all better now.
I'm
so happy.
I mean, my back, you remember my back was messed up.
Yeah.
I went and bought straight up BioFreeze patches and back pain pills that were specifically made for back pain because I was so stressed out about ruining my entire cruise for my back pain. And then it was gone. Just like
Magic.
that.
Gone.
Magic of the spa.
All right, so we did one Castaway Key day. So this is your second time on Disney's private island. What was that day like for us?
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say I liked this version better than the last one.
Okay, yeah.
Because I actually did a lot of the beach. We had a cabana last time, which was super nice. Actually, the last time was really cool because we did the bike rentals. I did like the riding the bikes. That was really, really fun. And Nicole was there. I love Nicole. But this time I actually did a lot of swimming in the ocean, which I did not do last time hardly at all. The water temperature was like perfect. Like just the best ever. Some guy said it was 87 degrees, which evidently means perfect to me. And this time, I saw so much sea life, which I don't remember either. There was a giant, probably, like, what is my wingspan? Probably, like, 4 feet?
Yeah.
Okay. There was, like, a 4 feet wide, or 4 foot wide manta ray or whatever kind of ray. It was like a giant ray right at my feet. And he, like, did the cool little, like burying himself in the sand thing. I was like, oh, my God, this is freaking crazy. And you're not in an aquarium. You're, like, out in the wilderness.
Yep.
Like, this is real life. And this manta ray is, like, just hanging out. There's all these crazy fish. There's crabs. Like, it was just, like, fun. I was, like, tracking down all these fish with these strangers on the beach. And then there's a point where Mike and I swam way out, and then turns out the sand had come up, and we were now standing only, like, knee-deep way out in the ocean. Like, just, like, super, super cool. It was really fun.
Water was crystal clear.
Crystal clear. You see your feet the whole time you're swimming. And the bottom of the water as well, or the ocean. Yeah, I don't know what else you think about that.
It was good. I love Serenity Bay so much.
Oh, yeah, that was the adult-only beach
side.
also.
I can just lay there forever and ever and just float. And it was, like, extra salty that day, so we were, like, buoyant and just floating, but without doing anything.
Oh, yeah, I kept sitting in the water, floating in the water as if I was in a chair. Do you remember? I was like, why can't I do this? It's like a weird thing. And I'm like, oh, I guess it's just super salty.
And it shows that with Castaway Cay, it can be different every time you go, depending on what you do. Like, we barely even went to the family area where they have all the music and the shopping and the activities. And that could be a whole different day if you spent your whole day there. So that just means we have to go a few more times to Castaway Cay.
Yeah, I think so.
Food and restaurants. So the barbecue at Castaway Cay is always good. We got there, like, right as they were closing, but we got to get some burgers and stuff in. But what about the food on the ship and the restaurants? What did you think?
For some reason, I thought the food was a little better on the Wish. Is it the same kind of stuff?
I would say it's the same concept, but I would agree that during the main dining rotations, I didn't care for a lot of it, or I didn't finish every plate.
Right.
But it wasn't bad.
I remember having.
Was like,
I had a couple nights, like at least 2, if not 3, where I was like, I don't want anything on this menu.
Yes, there was one of those.
And that was weird because I don't think we had that at all on the Wish.
Yeah.
And again, this is not even that. It's not even a real complaint because it was still great stuff, like great options and great food. It just like wasn't as good as I was expecting because the Wish was really good. They just had different menu timing, I'm sure. It's just different menus. But they had the cabanas and the deck open like a lot of the time, and you could get your big pile of shrimp, which I got every single day almost on the ship.
We definitely did the cabanas buffet more on this ship than the Wish. And I love a buffet. You love a buffet. Mm-hmm. It was good.
Yeah, like 20 bites of 20 different things is all I want for any meal. So it totally fits perfectly. And there was like, I'm super into fruit. This is like always been my thing. I just love cut fresh fruit. So like there's another place you can go to and just ask them to make you a big ass bowl of fresh cut fruit, and they will, and it's like the best thing ever. So I was doing that a lot too. So
what did you think of specifically the restaurant Animator's Palette? This was your first time in that themed restaurant.
It was very cute. So the first night we went there, it was like a turtle taco crush kind of night, which is adorable. We didn't really have that much interaction with it. I think we were like kind of a center table, so maybe it's a little harder.
Yeah, we're kind of far away from the virtual aquariums.
Yeah, and we didn't have kids with us. I think that always plays a little bit of a part with Disney stuff. But the second night was the big hitter. It was so freaking cute, you guys. They give you this placemat kind of thing, and it gives you all this instructions, which I did not read and did not follow because I did not read them. But it still worked out okay. But they give you basically like, picture like a rounded stick figure, and you then draw in the gaps with whatever you want your character to look like. And so I drew myself. Mike drew like a dragon dinosaur guy alien. What were you drawing there?
I don't know. He
like
was
a creature.
He was inspired by Creature from the Black Lagoon combined with Babadook. That's what I was going for. But this is what happens when you've been a few times. You just start going nuts with it. And definitely the first few times, I did try to draw myself exactly like you did. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I made a shirt with a Mickey on it because what does one do? And then I wrote Disney Holic on it, and then Mike swiftly points at the thing that says no words. I'm like, shoot. But it made it through the cut. Thank you very much. Just like the people that are flashing on like drops of rides, makes it through the cut, or flipping it off. I still make it through sometimes, but I made it through. And what they do is they take it in the back, they do some Disney magic to it, And then the big finale of the dinner is that the TVs all around the restaurant. They show an animated version of your character with everybody else from the restaurant too. So they make this whole like music, like how do you explain it?
It's like a I did not explain it either. It's like a montage of Disney musical numbers from the cartoons, and then they superimpose your drawing in it with the Disney characters dancing. So now your character that you drew is moving and doing all kinds of fun things.
It's like come to life.
Yeah. Drawn to life. I love it.
Excuse me. Yes.
So this is classic. I really, really think they need to put this on every ship. I was so confused when it wasn't on the Disney Wish because I thought this was like their staple thing or signature restaurant. So if
it was
you
very cool and cute.
Haven't done it, you gotta go on a ship that has Animator's Palette. There were also a lot of Easter eggs all around the restaurant, like as decorations, as if it was a animation studio. So you could see different concept art drawings and like actual figurines from all kinds of Disney and Pixar movies. If you follow us on Instagram, we're going to do some fun trivia with pictures and videos that we took of all of these little objects too.
Yeah. They also had like the other restaurants also had theming too, just like on the Wish. But all were really fun and beautiful restaurants. And we had great service as well. So
and there's something for everybody on the menus too. Like they always had a vegetarian option or multiple for that.
And you can order. This is another tip. I think we've said this on our review of the last cruise, but you can order kind of whatever you want on there. So like let's say your meal is like steak with mashed potatoes and corn, and then there's another thing with like chicken and carrots and peas. And then you could get like a steak with carrots and peas or carrots and mashed potato. You can just like make your own meal if the exact situation doesn't fit you. You can even order off the kids menu. So one popular item with Mike was to order a bowl full, which our waiter or waitress made sure she let you know we're making a bowl full of mac and cheese for you off the kids menu. So you can get kind of whatever you want and it's all good to go and you just kind of...
It was so good. I loved the mac and cheese so much. It's probably the same one that's at the buffet, but it tastes better when it's at the dinner table for some reason. And it felt so
just like
good.
While you're eating your other food, you can just have a...
Yeah.
It's nice.
And then I would have like a little glass of wine with it. So it was, again, Disney adulting at its finest.
Yeah, totally.
Being a big kid. But that was the cruise. We did end the cruise with me telling Jen that, guess what? I also booked a future cruise placeholder, which they tempt you to do on the app now. It used to be that you had to go to this desk to get it. Now it's just on the app. So there goes my fingers.
Yep.
And I pressed it. And if we want to go, I think you have like 2 years to use it. And then they give you a refund on that deposit if you don't use it. The benefit is you get 10% off that cruise.
That's very cool.
So
that's a big number when you get up to cruise pricing. So super helpful. And I love that it doesn't, I can't believe it doesn't make you pick one. That to me was like, okay, well then I don't see why anybody wouldn't do it because that's really, really
might as well do it.
Nice. Yeah. So that's a cruise. I do want to follow up next week with some more details, especially shout outs. I want to tell you guys and let you listen in to a little bit more about some of the people we interacted with on the ship. So I think that'll be fun to go over next week. So you guys will be hearing a little more about the Disney cruise next week. But let's move on to Disney World because we are also currently here, only about halfway through our week at Disney World that we added on to the end of our cruise. So we have a full week here. And we've already done so much. It's been crazy. And we were just talking before we started recording about how this feels like, even though it's 2 weeks straight, it feels like two entirely different trips. Like we've almost gone home in the middle of the two, even though we didn't. It's just like so totally separated in our brain. But we are at Disney World and we got to do 2 new things, which is always fun for Disneyholics because, you know, we always get to go and do all the same things
on the
over and
same
over.
day too.
Same. Yep. 2 brand new things on the first day here too.
First day
at the parks.
Yep.
We went to Magic Kingdom, and what did we do?
So we got to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which we didn't even like set expectations to do so. We thought, okay, if we get it, we get it.
Because they announced that they're opening in Disneyland in November, and I was already thinking like, okay, how am I going to make this work to go there for the opening? And then I didn't even think about like, oh my god, I get to go on it before that because I'm going to be in Disney World. Like, it just didn't even clue into me until Courtney was like, do you want me to get the virtual queue for Tiana's? I was like, what? Oh my god, we're going to go on Tiana's already. So that was a nice surprise.
That was good. We were sitting in Cosmic Rays where, by the way, Sunny Eclipse is not there. He's on tour. He was gone. And we were very sad. But we sat there and we were able to get the virtual queue when the time came up. And suddenly, all of a sudden, we're like, oh my gosh, we're about to ride Tiana's.
Yeah.
Like, what? We didn't even expect this. So that was really fun. I gave it a 5 out of 5. And I think I said something on Instagram like, it was refreshing and joyful. Like, it was just so happy. And all the songs and the way the characters there, they were just like celebrating. And I know some people said there's not really a storyline. Maybe there isn't. I don't think there is either. But it was just like fun. It was like you were just going to someone's like fun celebration. And I thought it was a worthy, I'm saying it wrong again. It was worthy of its predecessor in terms of just like a feel-good ride. And it was really hot that day and we got very wet.
Oh, yeah, we definitely were excited that you guys got stuck in the front row instead of us.
I was up front, got soaked in weird parts of the ride, too, where I didn't think you were going to get wet.
That's always how it goes on that one.
Yep.
I gave it a 4 out of 5. The story thing did bother me, too. But what Courtney mentioned to me, which I hadn't even noticed, it doesn't have a dip in the story, like a sad part. And I remember there was one part of the ride where the music kind of dims down and there's a Tiana and she's talking. And it sounds, when you can't really hear what she's saying it sounds like, oh, this is the part where it's going to get dark and serious, right? Because every Disney story has that lull. And then I got to what she was saying, like, wait, she's just talking about the same stuff we were talking about before. It just like this vibe change for some reason. Then it went right back to happy. So I was like, okay, I kind of like a little more of the like, storyline as you go through. So that was a little bit for me. And then of course there's a couple screens that bothered me, I'm not gonna lie, but it wasn't like, I still give it a 4 out of 5. Usually if a ride really bothers me, it'd be probably like a 2.
Yeah.
3 is
it was hard to
4 was like, I still liked it.
Some of the screens, unless it's just my eyesight, so take this with a grain of salt, some were a little blurry for a brand new ride. But there were so many animatronics that I was so impressed by that I'm like, okay, the screen's fine, whatever. There were so many animatronics.
So many.
Tiana showed up like 5,000 times.
Yeah.
and so did Louis the alligator.
Louis, yeah,
so many
huge.
times. So, huge. Sometimes it would just be his butt and tail. Sometimes it'd be his whole body and he was playing music. And then there was just so many new critters and they were so cute and kind of big. Like, I would say medium size, not small like the previous critters on Splash Mountain.
Right.
And playing all kinds of fun instruments that were made from junk. And things
Junk.
like that. Junk, Junkk. But yeah, it is weird that there was no dip dark part. There was no Dr. Facilier. I forgot his name. I had to Google it. And I just hope we get some Shadow Man in Villain's Land. Because he's such a cool character for a in-person thing, lights and smoke and magic.
I could totally picture it. I'm like, oh, that area with the mushrooms is where they're going to put Dr. Facilier because it's black light, and they're going to have his like shadow world there. And, like, I was excited for it, and then there was no such thing. What was I going to say too? There was something else. What was I going to mention?
It's a gorgeous out exterior too.
Yeah, it is very colorful.
And at night too, really pretty.
Yeah, it's really pretty. I want to say one more thing about the animatronics. These animatronics, not Tiana, because I've seen. Actually, I guess I haven't seen that
only on video
person yet.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, and it wasn't even Tiana. Like, I've seen the Beauty and the Beast and Frozen and stuff like that in video only. So this is the first time seeing her in person. But the critters and Louie, I'd never seen animatronics made out of the materials they were made out of. The critters are very fluffy.
Yeah.
Like fluffier than country bears even. And Louie was made out of this like soft fabric looking stuff. I don't know. He looked
you'd want to hug it.
Yeah, I wanted to hug every single critter on the entire thing. So that was kind of cool too. That was like something new. And it felt like, something we just haven't seen before. So that was really cool.
Yeah. And one other thing we got to do in the same area, because I think this is all Frontierland now, was the brand new version of Country Bear Jamboree, their new musical set with all of their glow-ups after their last tour ended, and they're now on their new tour here at Magic Kingdom. What do you think of it?
I loved it. I thought I was going to hate it. I'm not going to lie. I thought I was going to hate it. And I remember seeing a spoiler before, because everybody knows I'm a no spoiler girl. But I had seen a spoiler and I was like, it's too polished. I don't like it. It's too polished for Country Bear. It has to be camp. It has to be awkward and funny and silly, or else it's not Country Bears. So it's got to be, it's just not what I heard. And whatever they did to whatever I had seen was exactly Country Bears. It was all of the things I just mentioned. And we still saw so many of our same characters come out and do new parts and new costumes.
Yeah.
And lots of Disney songs, which I think is a great change because most of us know them. Most of the Country Bear Jamboree songs, people don't know.
Right.
So people can't sing along. So these ones, I actually went back again today. And when we went, it was pretty late, right?
Yeah.
And it was pretty low crowd in there.
20 of us, less than that.
There wasn't that many people. Today it was packed. And so I got to see, everyone singing along and clapping along. So people know the music. Is a lot of very popular Disney songs. But they're all done in some form of a country western way. There's a lot of, if you guys don't know country music, there's a lot of different forms of it. And they kind of covered the whole spectrum of it. So they converted these Disney songs to make them sound one of these styles of country, and it fits so well. Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah. I give it a bravo because it could have easily just been completely demolished if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And they decided instead, no, let's make it relevant again.
Right.
And yeah, I was also very pleasantly surprised. And I didn't want it to end. Usually the regular show, I'm like, okay, let's go. But this one, I was like, wait, I want more songs.
Wait a second. Are you saying that you like Country Bears now?
I do like Country Bears now. And
oh my God, this fixes... Okay, now it's a 5.5 out of 5.
5.5 out of 5.
What?
I've always liked the characters. I never cared for the show. Now I like
There was
both.
a time where he wouldn't even go in with me. He's like, I will go look in this store
I'll go
while
do
you're in
something
there.
else.
Yeah.
I'll go there unless I'm looking for a nap or something. But yeah, now I'm awake the whole time. It's so exciting. And I wish it was double the length with double the songs.
Yeah, I'm curious to see the run length in comparison to the last one. Because I do feel, and I don't know if this could be another thing because I'm familiar with the songs. This could be part of it. It feels like they're cut short every time. It's like, oh my God, this person just popped in and they're gone already. But I think that's how it was originally too. It's just so familiar now that you want to sing the whole rest of the song. And then they're already gone. I'm like, ah.
Yeah, you get a verse and a chorus and then it's on to the next act.
Yep. Very, very much so quick. And the new characters, they're the same characters, but they have done a little bit of glow up, like Mike was saying. They're so cute.
Very cute. Yeah.
The little Sammy guy, I want a plushie of him so bad. He's so freaking cute. It's little Henry's sidekick. He's got a cowboy hat on this time. He's just the cutest little raccoon guy ever. I love him.
Very cute. Very cute. Well, that wraps up our look back at the last 2 weeks or so of full, pure Disney fun at Disney Cruise, and then now halfway through our trip at Disney World.
Yes, we're looking forward to sharing more with you, but until then, thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed episode 207 of The Disneyholics Show.
Follow us on social media at The Disneyholics.
And if you'd like to get in touch, send us a DM on Instagram or contact us at thedisneyholics.com.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Look for those bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean those bare necessities, that's how a bear can rest at ease. The simple bare necessities of life.
man, I really want to go to Disneyland.